Hi guys, on this little video today, look, I've even got I'm like a fat man's Pete McKinnon. I've got tattoos, black t-shirt, I've even got a coffee dude. So what I'm going to do in this vlog is, last week I posted on my Facebook and my Twitter page, I asked people to send me questions in and I will try my best to answer them as honestly and as educationally as possible. I don't know everything, I don't pretend to, so we'll go straight into the questions. And the first question, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to try and do it live, it'd be nearly impossible, I can't even speak, never mind answer questions. But the first question is off my good friend of mine, Jim Scott. What aspect of your photography do you want to improve upon and why? The photography side of it, I'm quite alright. Some people will say I'm quite rubbish, but each to their own. I think the photography side, I think editing is something that I really need to just improve a little bit. I just use Lightroom at the moment. I do very minimal edits. I'd like to be a bit more what's the word, a bit more up to date in Photoshop. I don't really use it, I just use it to put a white frame on, and dust removal I find Photoshop seems to be better at removing spots, although I should clean my sensor. So yeah, I think editing is a thing that I would like to improve on. Definitely, I think we could all learn a little bit from. I also like black and white editing, like what Jim did. He did a picture of a building, I'm not too sure where it was. And he edited it really good. If I can get the picture off him, if I can borrow the picture off him, in fact what I'll do is I'll borrow the picture off him and I'll post it now and you can see what he's done. So yeah, that's the first question over with. Right, let's go on to the second question. Here we go. The second question is off a guy called Michael Lyons. More of a personal curiosity question, that's how you say it, I think. Top 5 places you personally would love to visit as a photographer that you haven't been yet. I think, where haven't I been? I've not been hardly anywhere, to be fair. I would love to go. I'm more of a Lake District and an Anglesey guy. When we went to a place called Porto Santo on our holiday, it was just over the water was a place called Madeira, and some of the views there, I've googled it and I've been on Google Earth, so I'd actually love to go to Madeira. It looks quite magical, to be fair. In England I would love to go to the Northumberland coast. I've never been up that way, so you've got starting from Hartlepool, which is Steatley Pier, you've got the castles, Dunstable, you've got the other castle that's up there, you've got Whitby, I think, up that way, and Staves, I'm not too sure, alongside that coast. I'd like to go to Pembrokeshire, on the Pembrokeshire coast. Where else would I like to go to? I think there's a place in Norfolk, I think, that's got the shingle beach. Don't quote me on this, but it's all kind of there's like a cottage on the side, it's got a shingle beach. I'd love to go there. I think it's near a place called, is that near Dungeness? I'm not too sure. I'll have to Google it. Like I say, I'm doing these questions as I read them and I'll answer them. Also Scotland, I'd love to go back up to Scotland. I've been to Glencoe a lot. I'd love to go to the Rock and Bow Fiddle, I think it's called, but it's about a 10-hour drive from here. That's that like rock formation. I'd also love to do the NC 500, which is all the way around Scotland, but also there's an island called the Isle of Barra, believe it or not, right up, and that is where the McNeil name came from, believe it or not. And so I'd love to go there and spend a few days there, or take the kids and the wife and everything and go for a week or something. But the Isle of Barra, it looks beautiful. It's got beautiful blue seas, golden beaches. So yeah, those I think that's 5. If not, I'll give you one more just off the top of my head. I'd like to go to, I've never been to Cornwall, around that way as well, so Penzance, that would be quite a nice place to go and take some photos down there. On to the next question. Black coffee. Right, the next question is off. Here we go. Right, this is a question, this is a tricky question. Having trouble learning, Neil Howcroft sent me a question. having trouble learning the exposure triangle. What is the trick to it? The trick is, you got exposure, sorry I'll start again, ISO, shutter speed and aperture. Now that is meant to be the triangle that works out for the perfect exposure. I learnt the exposure triangle by simply using an item or using a person, and basically setting the tripod up. When I used to go to a pond near where we lived, I used to get an old dandelion, set the tripod up, and I would just go through the shots. So f2.8 to blur out the background, f3.5, f4, f6, f8, all the way up to f11 or f20, f16 to get your starbursts. Just use different shutter speeds and write them down on the pad, piece of paper, and just see what works best for you. That's what I did. Portraits, if you use an f1.4, you get the bokeh behind, you get all the lights. That's quite good. So all I would say to you is just keep practicing, Neil. That's what I did. And if you want to meet up, and sometimes these things are easier to show people rather than me talk about it. I think hands-on is how I learnt, and it's quite good to show people how to do it. So yeah, so that's that question. On to the next question. Right, so the next question is of a good friend of mine, David, and he said, what are the best filters? In my opinion, I've been using Format Hi-Tech filters for a good 4 years now, if not longer. My favourite filters of the collection would be, I love the 3-stop filter that just slows the water down to say half a second, if less than half a second. I use a 6-stop filter. I also love the 0.9 Firecrest Ultra soft edge grad and 0.9 hard edge grad when you go to the coast, the Fylde coast, when we're allowed to go. It's really good because you get the water and you can just make the sky look a little bit more moody with the 0.9 or the 0.6. But yes, those are my favourite. And of course the Nightscape filter, which I've got a previous vlog there which I show you walking around Cardiff, taking shots using the Nightscape filter. So yeah, Format Hi-Tech are my favourite. Everybody's got different favourites, but they're mine. So on to the next question. Let's try and find it. Next question is from a good guy. He's called Mark Dunbavan. Hi, will you be holding any classes when the virus has gone? Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next few months I will be, I think. I'll be doing some more workshops. My workshops have always been mainly no more than 3 people. I like to do, I don't like to do too many group ones. It's good if you're with other ambassadors and you have a lot of people, say 20 people, then you have 4 or 5 ambassadors. But if you're doing one-to-ones, I think you're better off on your own, really. You and maybe 2 people max, 2 or 3 max. I think people learn more, they enjoy it more, and I can devote more of my time. I don't do any vlogging, I don't do any of my own photography. I'm there to teach people what I know, and try and do it in my way, try and make it a little bit more fun so you remember stuff, and not too much textbook, but more just hands-on, just showing people little tips you can do, focusing, f-stops, ISO settings, little tips that you probably wouldn't think about using the grid on your camera, or just little bits and pieces that you can pick up. So yes, I will be doing those, and hopefully in the next 6 months. Right, so the final question comes from Andy Miller. There are lots of great blogs about photography, the actual taking photos, including yourself. Thank you very much. What I struggle with is the workflow afterwards. It would be great if you could show us how your workflow works, from download to editing, backup, then either printing or send them off for printing. Well, this question is really difficult, and I probably can't really answer everything in one reply. I'd rather either talk to you on the phone or explain to you face to face. For me, it'd probably be a little bit easier. All I would say is that, say for instance, I do weddings, I do all sorts of photography, different types. Let's just briefly do landscape photography. And my workflow has changed so much. So 6 years ago, let's take 6 years ago, I would go to Lake District or Lancashire or wherever it was, or Riverhead Viaduct, and I would blast a load of photos, say probably take 200 photos during the day, and then I would come back, sift through them and find 1 or 2 good ones. Where now I go to Lake District, I do a lot of scouting online, I look at Google Earth, I look at maps, weather conditions, I have a picture in my mind that I want, and normally if I go to the Lake District, last time I went, I think, to a place to Ullswater, and I was there for a good six hours and took maybe 10 or 11 shots. off the whole. That was the whole day, 11 shots. And while I was walking, or while I was walking back to the car, having a look on the back of the camera, I probably removed some of those, the ones that I didn't think was meh. You know, I would get rid of them. So by the time I got home, I would only have 9 shots to upload. And basically what I do to them is put them in the XQD card reader, upload them, save them to my external hard drive, then import them to Lightroom, do minor modifications, and then from Lightroom upload to Photoshop, just to simply to put a white background on it. You might be able to do it in Lightroom, and then just export and post on social media, and then save those images to back to another external hard drive. Weddings, it's different. You might have 3,000 images with those, when it's people's special memories. The first thing I do when I'm on location with a laptop is get the XQD card or SD card and save some of those, upload them to a cloud so they're safe, so don't travel or lose them. I always try and do that throughout the day. Nikon Z7 or Z6 has only got one memory card in each. What I try to do is circulate those cards or spare cards and different, you know, but I've never had any problem with any cards if you format them before you could use them, so touch wood. Yeah, so every workflow is quite different, but for that question itself, I'd actually like to ring you up or kind of meet you and speak to you and just go through it one by one, because there is so many different things you workflow. At the moment I don't print very much. I find it a lot easier to use a company called DS Colour Labs. I resize all my images, colour profile them, and basically within 2 or 3 days I've got a beautiful A3 print, and it gets sent on to a client, or I get it on the wall, and if it comes to me it's got a scratch, I just send it back and they send me another one. If I was to print one, I'd have to print about 5 or 6 things just to get one right. Whereas this, if I'm doing it for a client, it's more cost effective for me to, more effective for me just to get one to come, sign it and send it out. So yeah, so I hope that helps. Hope you've enjoyed this little Q&A. I'm sorry it's I'm sorry it's sometimes a bit mishmash, but that's just me, as you know, through the vlogs previous. So hope I've answered all your questions. I think I'll do another one of these again in a few months, and get sending your questions, and I'll leave your comments down below, and thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.